liquid to lips sampling and on-premise activations. I'd like to kick off by just all the panelists introducing themselves. So why don't we start with David and go down the line?
David O'Neill from Trail Magic, one of the co-founders there. As my business partner mentioned, we were, I think, the first brand to launch natively in Minnesota. So it's been a really fun journey for us to kind of get into the category very quickly and start developing the space. And yeah, I'm very excited to be here with all of you and talk more about cannabis beverages.
We make the world's most awarded THC cocktails. We have 6 SKUs. We just launched our Spirit. Just came from Denver, Wholesale Spirits Access Live, which was really good fun. And excited to be here and finally have some warm weather. I'm based out in New York and I've just been freezing for a few months. So as you can tell, I'm not originally from there, so I appreciate these conditions.
We're an old school dispensary brand that, been believing in this low-dose stream for a long time and excited to see it thriving in liquor license retail. Worked in adult consumables really my entire career, so, built for regulated environments and making things happen.
Maybe all the panelists can just chime in on what makes a successful demo and samplings and what's worked best.
For any kind of on-premise sampling or just kind of experience with a consumer, really just meeting them where they're at, figuring out what their understanding level is from an education perspective, and then trying to bring them along the journey. And at the end of the day, from an on-premise perspective, really what our job is to kind of demo like what the occasion is and how this can fit within their life. So whether that's in a liquor store setting, whether that's in an on-premise bar or restaurant, whether that's at a music festival, depending on kind of what your local market, what's going on there and where you can meet consumers, where culture is happening.
So for us, what we do is we try and really prioritize our attention on markets that have a high concentration of DTC data around it. So we use this AI stack, layer our DTC data over the US, get a heat map, and then layer our VIP data on top of that, and then find where the stores are that have a concentration of DTC consumers around it, and then focus our strategy on that. And we see a 3x lift in velocity from those occasions when we're sampling in those kind of stores. The prices of tastings are going up from $150 to $200 for a tasting now, but also brands are expecting agencies to do things like merchandising and checking on the stock as well as also doing the tastings.
For Wynk, our focus is one part on the education. So the education component is huge for us. And then second, we really try to spend our marketing dollars in ways that are going to drive depletions. Awareness is important, but we need to move cases. End of the day, hard to find a better bang for buck ROI than samplings in a store. It brings new consumers into the fold, pulls a couple six-packs off the shelf, win all the way around. Retailers love it, distributors love it. Good for the brand. We see them as a win-win.
And we want our product to almost feel mundane. Like, I want you to feel comfortable picking it up like anything else in the supermarket. But you also realize that, like, even though a lot of our demo may be parents with kids, like, if they're at the supermarket with their kids, they might not want to stop at the table, or they just don't have time. But they might look at that and be like, holy shit, that's really what I need? I'm coming back for that? I did one before game day in Baton Rouge on Sunday. Had a lot of people coming in before the game to buy beer, and we're happy to try this on their way to a tailgate. So, just thinking about good timing as well.
What are retailers' expectations for samplings? Is it on a certain cadence, certain amount of product? Maybe you can share some real examples.
Like the bigger chains, absolutely expect, if we're going to put your product on the shelf, you got to show up, give us some kind of a sampling program. Smaller retailers sometimes seem kind of surprised and delighted, like, oh, you want to do a tasting here? And, that's great too. So I think it kind of varies depending on the type of retail for us. Anyway.
And then you're going to post that on social media, and you're going to drive some traffic and attention and create something at their store for them. And they are frequently happy to just have someone show that attention and do something unique at their store.
On-premise sampling and brand activations have been a great kind of proof point for like, this is fine. To the idea of normalization, we belong here. We aggressively chase on-prem as much as we do off-prem.
Establish long-term restaurants and bars or places that people look to as, either on trend, that also is just super normalizing and helps selling into the next bar and the next restaurant be that much easier when they know other people doing it. One of our best and one of our first on-premise accounts is a bagel place. It's called Flower Moon Bagels in New Orleans. I'll shout them out. They're on like the NFL circuit this week. They're like a hip bagel place, very Instagrammable food, but it's awesome. But people wait in line there. And they have a huge beverage fridge that's double door, glass fridge. And just like most places now, right? Like you're greeted with a lot of beverages. The average consumer, whether it's something with caffeine or kombucha or fresh orange, whatever it is, like people want a lot of choice. They gave us a great eye-level space, but people pick it up. I've watched them do it. They'll look at it in the fridge. So that's one that, for discovery, but also, again, just like if a restaurant or bar, right, is like, I don't know if this is right for us, like probably is because, that's just part of someone who's been coming to your bar and restaurant, your normal patrons, like That's part of their spend. A lot of people, right? They're already spending it. They're just not spending it with you. They're going outside to smoke. They're hitting the vape before they come or the gummy. So you can kind of, people now realize that everyone likes cannabis. And so when you let people know, right, like, well, now you can sell that person a drink instead of them going to smoke outside. And every bartender knows all their regulars who smoke weed. They know. And so, yeah, that kind of resonates with them too.
In Minneapolis, we run we're like a craft cidery. So I oversee our hospitality and taproom operations, and we've had our cannabis beverages on, behind the bar ever since, July of 22. So it's been really fun to see just kind of the experimentation and development of the consumer in the space. I think on-premise historically for alcohol has been the place where folks kind of try the product and get exposed to it. I think what's been interesting for me to see as I sample folks or send them home with beverages, there's kind of this like I've seen a lot of a slight hesitance if they're not really familiar with the category. Maybe I'm gonna take this home first. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be weird in front of my friends or how this is going to go. But I've also seen a lot of other people just completely embrace it. We have pickleball on site. We've got 3 indoor courts. One of my favorite stories and just kind of watching these middle school teachers dare each other to get a THC beverage while they're out for their work pickleball outing, and it's like you get it, no you get it, like okay let's split it, and so they'll split like a 3 milligram, and then they'll kind of realize that like this is fun, and maybe I feel a little like, like tingly or something, and then they have another one, and then you've kind of broken this barrier where it feels really normal, and I think there's this whole concept of social proof that I know the cannabis industry has been fighting kind of a stigma for a long time. So I'm really excited about this package format. I'm really excited about this medium to facilitate these beautiful shared experiences that we know that this product can deliver.
Open question for the panel. Where do you see what time of day is most effective for sampling, and how do the customer segments differ?
We've tried occasions earlier in the morning, or other days, and they're just nowhere near as effective. So ours are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's prime time.
I'd echo Louie's point. We tried to formulate our beverages from a really a high focus on taste. We kind of come from this craft alcohol, and we're basically a fruit beverage business in the cider world. So we have a mimosa, Sauvignon Blanc, grapes, and orange juice. We've got an Arnold Palmer, which is our best seller, fresh brewed black tea, lemonade, and we also have a margarita. So we've kind of tried to span this whole day occasion. Our number one seller is our half and half. So for me, that's kind of like a middle of the day. That's what I'm drinking with at lunch. There's a little bit of natural caffeine from the black tea. But I think that consumers, when we book samplings, though, it's still, you're looking for, hey, this is part of somebody's, I'm getting off of work on a Friday or Thursday or something like that. I'm getting ready for my weekend. We're still kind of seeing that's when people's behavior, especially in a packaged liquor store where we're seeing the most volume, is the best time to do a sampling.
In terms of just maybe speak specifically how you guys measure sort of agency performance, or for new brands, what are the KPIs that you hold them accountable to?
On our side, we have kind of after-action reports, how many consumers they think they saw, any interesting anecdotes, conversations they had, good or bad. And then velocity is the other one. How many cases did you move? Would you start with? How many do you think you sold through on the day? It's kind of the basic ask for us.
I think our most successful sampling or activation that we've done was kind of really in the early, I think this was December of 22 in Minnesota. So there's kind of this magic in the air around these cannabis beverages. You've got the Star Tribune that came out and basically said that the politicians messed up and that this product is available. So everybody knew that this was legal now. And then you had the kind of the social culture of breweries really getting behind this category as well. So there was a brewery that was expiring in their lease, and another one was coming up, and there was this space that was basically a full brewery, and we did a pop-up weekend. It was a Trail Magic bar. We invited all of the local producers to participate in that. So we got really the kind of the social engagement from all of these local craft producers to talk to their communities about their products, and that we're going to create this space, and we could really demo what this product is and kind of educate consumers of what this occasion is supposed to be.
One of the more recent fun ones, at least for me, was we donated product to the New Orleans Jazz Museum, their annual fundraising gala. So it's a fun event to go to anyway, but we had Louie's at all the bar, like Phil's saying, along with all the other stuff. And just walking around and seeing how many people were drinking them. And I mean, I'm 42. A lot of the people were at least 20 years older than me. But like just turning my head and seeing, you know, obviously I was particularly proud. It was my brand. The world is changing so much that like Piggly Wiggly in Alabama, there's a store that has like a 20-foot THC section on one side of the store, and in letters taller than this room says "In God We Trust" on the other side of the store, right? So a lot of people, like, that's an interesting dichotomy. Piggly Wiggly is like, you know, kind of a euphemism for the rural South in a lot of ways. But that's the world we're living in, right? And so that's been kind of rewarding.
You know, like in alcohol, a lot of the rules restrict like the pay to play. It for sure happens in the pay to play. You know, you basically have to buy an $1,800 bottle of Tito's, and that you just run it through the register. They charge you nearly $2,000, and then you get your placement or your end stack display for like 4 or 5 months. But they also then protect that because they want to make sure that if they're going to do it, that it works. And we've played that game many times, and it's successful every time. We get like island displays, like nearly like a pallet high, and all additional signage that we get to hang from the roof. And for us, that they pump through that volume and they reorder it like a few weeks later. So it's kind of annoying that you have to do the pay to play, but also once you test it a few times, you work out what the ROI is, and it does make sense for us.
So I think it might depend too on what where the consumers are at in that store, in that market. Like if you came to Minnesota, like people, I mean, they're kind of culling brands at this point, so it's a little bit more of a mature phase. But I'd think about even too, what kind of life cycle are the consumers at in the store? Is it super new? Are people trying things? Are people going through this kind of selection phase? So kind of look at it from that perspective too.